Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Raising Bulls, brought to you by the Beautiful Game Network at bgn.fm and Roughneck Scarves. We are the only podcast dedicated to the New York Red Bulls 2 of USL. Tonight, we're looking back at a kind of a tough road loss for the team. We're going to do our standard xNYRBII 2 report. We have a little bit of team news to talk about. We've got Kevin Politz back on the show. He's going to talk to us about his first year as a pro, and kind of the ups and downs and what's going on with that defense, which has been so leaky of late. We're going to preview the match against Toronto FC II. We're going to look at the playoffs and how they're shaking out for the East and the West. And we're going to talk Division 3. Joining me tonight, as always, I've got Mr. Joe Steen. Hello, Joe. How are you?
Great. I want to take full responsibility for them losing on the road again, because I predicted another road win, and it always seems to never go my way. So I'm not predicting any more road wins this year.
Yeah, I think that it's time to give up the ghost there. Although, surely once you stop, they'll win one.
Yeah, I guarantee that happens.
Absolutely. And also joining me tonight, he's been away for a couple weeks. We've missed him greatly. It's Mr. Bill Toomey. Hello, Bill.
Hey, Joe, how's it going?
It's going very, very well. I have a great surprise for you later on in the show. I'm not going to blow it now, though, but you're going to love it.
All right.
I promise. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I would be doing better if we even scored a goal on the road, but, you know.
Yeah, that's true. We'll
no
get
surprises.
We'll get to that in a minute. You went to Ozzy last night, right?
I did. I went to see Ozzy Osbourne, and he is still alive and kicking, and he sounds better than ever, which is kind of surprising.
Well, I guess that's good. The Prince of Darkness doesn't age, I guess. Or maybe he is aging, but his voice is okay.
I don't know how he's still alive, but he did a great show.
I'll tell you, the last couple times that I saw footage of him moving on stage, it is not dissimilar to how I'm moving right now after my surgery. Gingerly is the way it goes. I've got a 6-inch by 3-inch hole in my back right now. That is what is happening. Kids, get your cysts looked at when they're small. I'll leave it at that.
It's only going to take 9 weeks to heal.
Yeah, no big deal.
Right, you want Red Bull 2 make the playoffs, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. If they make the playoffs, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Anyway, let's talk about this game in Indy. Statistically, you look at this match and you look at the match that they won a week ago against Ottawa, or 2 weeks ago now, I guess, and they're really not dissimilar. The biggest difference was that Indy took their chances and Ottawa did not. But totally dominated the game, had 20-plus shots, controlled possession, kept the opponent from completing a lot of passes. But, I mean, everything seemed to bounce Indy's way in this match. And, you know, maybe some of that had to do with having the first-teamers who really aren't integrated into the team and trying to fit them in and see how that goes. But, you know, this was just a really, I don't know if disturbing loss is the right word, because, you know, some of this was just, I guess, a game of inches. But it was a rough loss after what felt like such a big victory to get that shutout win against Ottawa, and now here we are back to square one, seeing the defense just look porous. You know, what do you think it is that's making everything so difficult this season? Is it still just, you know, the rotating lineups and how difficult it's been to get a consistent 11?
I think part of it was there looked like there's no communication for the back line. Everyone just kind of doing their own thing, and Indy was able to easily get behind them right off the start, and that just kind of set the mood for the whole game.
And which is kind of surprising, because the week before, Evan Loro really stepped up and was a big part of making sure that the backline was communicating and was in sync. And then, obviously you can't really tell from the broadcast how he did, but it looked like they were right back to what they were doing. Joe Steen, what is going on back there? What do you think?
I wish I had the answer. I think it's just been inconsistency all year. I mean, last year, you know, when they made their playoff run, we saw them get more consistent as the season went along. This year, they've just been one game. They get one shutout that they've had. They've only had one shutout since May, and they got it against Ottawa. And then you think, okay, maybe they've actually fixed these problems in training, and they've talked it out and talked about what they're doing wrong. And then they come into Indy, and then they completely just get basically clattered the entire time.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they had a lot of shots. Again, weren't clinical enough on the night. There was even one sequence, I think they hit the bar and it got saved twice. So unfortunate in some aspects, but I mean, the back line is the biggest concern because, I mean, you could score all the goals you want, but I mean, if you can't defend, it doesn't mean anything. We saw that in the Louisville game. They were up 2-0, and then they gave up a ton of goals afterwards. So, I mean, the biggest thing is if they play one of these top teams like a Pittsburgh or Cincinnati, they're going to have to defend. They can't just try and outscore these teams. Right,
but I also recognize the fact that when they're, obviously Indy got on top of them so early. This doesn't really apply to this match, but when the offense is misfiring the way it has on the road, you start putting your defense under more and more pressure as the game goes on, because how many of these attacks that get broken up end up in counterattack opportunities for whoever they're playing that are then turned into goals. So I think if they could be a little bit better in terms of what they bring to start matches on the road, that they'll get some results, but it's been very, very tough for them. One thing that I want to talk about over the last couple of weeks, as the offense has kind of been up and down, is Anatole Ebong. He's obviously getting the majority of the starts, and I think both the two and the one team want to see what he has and what he can give and get him back up to fitness. But it's certainly hurting. It's hurting the offense as they're going forward. And it's a similar problem to what's happening on the back line, where you don't have a consistent sort of group because of injuries and rotating in strikers. It's a mess.
Yeah, especially considering there's 26 shots and 5 of them are on target.
Yeah, that's a big problem. They got to figure out who's going to be the guy stepping up. I saw today Armando Moreno was in training and making people look like fools, so hopefully he gets...
Yeah, that was quite something. Yeah. And the chip at the end was
yeah, Ryan Mears is completely going the wrong way. He just looks like, oh man, this is terrible. Hopefully that can just breathe some life back into the team, because they really been needing that.
Him being back on full fitness is going to be huge for this team, because if he can regain the form he had before he had got injured. I mean, he was borderline unstoppable when he got the ball.
Yeah. It's been a while since he's scored, so it'd be cool to see him get back in the game, because they definitely need the help.
Yeah, and the other guy that obviously has been missing quite a bit has been Christian Caceres. He was such a huge part of this midfield, and I think XNYRBII has done well, but it's not a like-for-like change between the two of them, and I don't think he could make up sort of the ground / passing, possession, defensive side of the game, and obviously that has caused a lot of problems as well.
It's been rough out there for sure for the past few.
I mean, Christian's done great. I mean, he had a very good cameo with the first team. So I mean, maybe we'll see him back this season. But I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do going forward with their lineup. But if Christian's back, I mean, I think that definitely helps this team in the midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's talk man of the match. I'll start with you, Bill.
Hard to say, really. I don't even think I can pick a man of the match for this one.
Yeah, okay, that's very fair. Joe?
Nobody.
Yeah, I agree with the two of you. Nobody gets it. Look, I mean, I think that it wasn't 90 minutes of poor play from the team, but yeah, it's hard to give anyone really a standout performance
when you don't score, when you have 20 shots and nobody scores.
Yeah. Okay. Team news. I brought up Christian Caceres a little while ago and how his lack of playing time with the two team, and obviously getting cameos with the first team and being with the Venezuelan team right now. He obviously is missing. They've gone out. They've signed officially Kofi. We were talking about him last week. It looks like he might be someone who could fill in that spot, play sort of that box-to-box defensive midfielder for them that could maybe even add a little bit offensively. Is this the move that might make it a little bit more palatable that Caceres is getting so many more looks with the first team?
I mean, I like the move. I think it. I mean, I think it's definitely going to put the midfield on notice that their spot's not going to be a given anymore. And I think I really do like him. I think he's an intriguing prospect. So I mean, he's a good box to box midfielder. I mean, if he fills that role like Caceres, for Caceres, it's not going to be like he never left.
Yeah, well, they like we said, they need somebody there. They need someone to hold it down. When we look at Jean-Christophe Kofi, what I want to know about him, and maybe it's our expectations around him as a player, can we really expect him to fill in for a player like Caceres, who has, a pretty strong pro career even before he gets here, versus a guy that's essentially coming out of college?
Well, I mean, he's got the, I would say the hype around him coming out. I mean, there's a lot to like about him. And I mean, this is kind of what they're supposed to do, is try and integrate him in the squad as best as they can.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Bill, what do you think?
I definitely think it's going to help a bit for sure. I mean, I'd like to see him play with Red Bull too, like you said, and just kind of see how he blends in.
Yeah. Okay. We'll have to see what he does in the future. Let's jump to the ex-New York Red Bulls 2 report. Bill, your surprise is in this section. I bet you can already start to guess what it's going to be. Okay.
I can only imagine.
Rafi Diaz in Sac Republic. Rafi has not been in the 18 for Sac for the last couple of weeks. I'm thinking that maybe his time with the club is coming to an end, but I haven't seen that anywhere to report that as official. But he was not in the 18 for a 3-0 win over Seattle. Noah Powder, however, did get time with OCSC this past week. He played 90 minutes, scored the tying goal in a 3-2 win over OKC. Good job, Noah. They scored twice in extra time to win that match, by the way. Dan Metzger, Penn FC, he came off the bench, played 22 minutes in a 2-1 loss to Atlanta United 2. Junior Flemings started, played 55 minutes in a 1-0 loss to Charleston Battery. Stefano Bonomo is hurt, so he was not in the 18. Here you go, Bill. Brandon Allen, 45 minutes for Nashville. 2 goals in a 3-3 draw. Both goals?
Penalty kicks.
Just for you, Bill.
It's been a long time since we've seen that.
I know. I thought you would be so excited to hear. He's still scoring from the penalty spot in Nashville. Corey Herzog came off the bench, played 19 minutes in St. Louis's 1-0 win over Reno 1868. Kyle Rainish played 90 minutes in Fresno's 1-0 loss to the Swope Park Rangers. He picked up a yellow card in that match. Zach Carroll was in that 1868 match that I mentioned a moment ago against St. Louis. He played 90 minutes in that 1-0 loss. Conrad Pleva, he was with SLC. He started, played 90 minutes in a 2-1 loss to Rio Grande Valley, and scored a goal in that match. He had the lone goal for the Monarchs, which I think either I reported on last week, now that I'm saying this, or it happened again, where he was the only one to score in the match. But, maybe we'll get to this when we talk about playoffs, but Monarchs are going through a really bad spell right now, and not a good time of year for that to happen. Speedy Williams, tonight, Louisville City took on FC Cincinnati and lost 1-0 in Louisville. So now we're never going to hear the end of the obnoxious FCC fans as they quest to equal the point total of the New York Red Bulls 2 in 2016. That season, obviously, 30 matches instead of 34. So they'll be able to surpass that should they continue to win. Mike DeFonta and Phoenix Rising. He started and played 90 minutes in their 1-0 win over Rio Grande Valley. He did not play in a 3-2 loss to San Antonio. Carl, we know what happened there. We don't need to talk about it. And Scott Thompson did not play for the Richmond Kickers in a 2-1 loss to Charlotte. Across the sea, Zico Lewis, HK Kopavager. He was not in the 18 for a 4-1 win over Fromm. There's a much longer name that went with that, and I cut it all out. Fromm, that's all I'm saying.
See, I kind of thought that was a surprise for me, right?
Oh, no. David Abador and FC Haka. David went 90 minutes in a 2-2 draw with Oulu. I don't know how to say that. Oulu. He picked up a yellow card in that match. Tim Schmoll started and played 90 minutes in a 0-0 draw with Chesterfield for Dover Athletic. Maris Obakop I'm removing because I can't ever see if he's in the matches. And so far he has not been. He hasn't had a start for the Moldovan National Division FC Zimbru Chisinau. So for now, I'm taking him off this list. Aaron Basulovic and No Shipping's Bias. He started and played 46 minutes in a 2-0 loss to Karlsland. So good on you, Aaron. And good on all of the ex-New York Red Bulls that were in action this week. Whew. That brings us to the end of our ex-New York Red Bull 2 report. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Kevin Politz. So stick around. And we're back. We are rejoined now by first-year defender Kevin Politz. Kevin, how are you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
We're doing very well over here. I don't want to spend too much time on pleasantries. Let's dig down into what's been going on lately. About 2 weeks ago, you get your first shutout since May. The defense, which has been a little bit difficult of late, seems to be clicking and maybe even finds a rhythm. Very next week, another very difficult game at Indy. And if you look at the stat sheet, I mean, these are not terribly different, results statistically, but the scoreline's different. Is that a little bit frustrating as a defender?
It is a little frustrating. I think we had a good second half. I think we were on top of them for the most part. Generated a few good chances, especially in the second half, but I think there are just some moments that we fell asleep in the first half, and that really cost us in the end.
Yeah, and maybe even fair to say the ball just wasn't bouncing your way on the day. Because I don't think there was any huge issues on the back line leading to those chances, but, like you said, you fall asleep here and there, and it could be a little tough. Talk to us about the season so far. You've started 15 to 28 matches. Obviously, a bulk of your time has come in recent weeks, but I just wanted to get your feeling of how things have progressed for you this year.
I really enjoyed the season so far. Obviously, there's a lot of competition at center back, but I think competition is a really good thing. I think it just pushes you. Each training, each game, you have to be really sharp. And we've had a lot of different guys step up all across the back line, so I think it's been a lot of good, healthy competition. Personally, I think I've improved a lot. Practicing with the first team, I get to watch the good habits of, Aaron and Tim, who are both with the national team. For example, just learning from them, learning from all the coaches. I think I'm starting to apply a lot of the principles, learn the system a little bit better. And so overall, I think the season's gone pretty well for me personally. Just going into this last playoff push, hopefully we get some results and then make a push in the playoffs. And,
you brought up kind of the competition on the back line. Has that maybe led to some of the difficulties of there not being necessarily a steady four in the back?
Sometimes I think it's good for you to establish a relationship with another center back and kind of get consistent games, but at the same time you have to adapt and learn who you're playing with and get adjusted as quickly as you can. So I've played with I think 3 or 4 different center back pairings this season, and they're all different in their own ways, but at the same time the system, the Red Bull system is the same, and a lot of the practices and habits have to be good. So it's been an adjustment, but I think it's been pretty good so far.
And of course, that's kind of the nature of the beast, right? At Red Bull, is your evaluation is not just how you perform in the game, or even as a unit in those games, but maybe individual progress throughout the season, right?
Yeah, exactly. We do a lot of the same stuff at practice. I think a lot of the drills enforce those good habits, winning the ball back, playing forward, and a lot of the principles that they teach at Red Bull.
Sure. So I guess the other sticking point right now, and this is obviously team-wide, has been the performances on the road. Like, I mentioned these last two games between the Indy 11 match and the Ottawa Fury match. Statistically across the board, there's really not a huge difference between what you guys are doing at home or away, but the results have obviously been a lot harder to get on the road. Is there anything like within the team psychology or just discussions beyond the normal week-to-week discussions with the coaching staff that are looking at what's going on the road?
Obviously, that's like the elephant in the room that we haven't won a game yet on the road. But I think we've put together some good performances, and we've done well in a lot of games and earned some good points. It's just I think at home sometimes we have like a good complete performance, and sometimes on the road we just let up. We've let up some late goals in some games, and it's just maybe 89 minutes of like good play instead of 90. And so it's just getting that last little bit, everyone focused, complete game for 90 minutes. And hopefully that'll bring us all 3 points on the road.
And as a unit, as you're approaching this playoffs, are you guys looking at the tables at all, or is it still kind of focused to the game in front of you?
Yeah, I think every game going into the last few games now is important. Obviously, we want to win at home on Thursday, and but also we have a lot of road games left in the schedule, and we need to get results in order to make the playoffs, get a good seed in the playoffs, and just to gain that confidence that we can win on the road. We've shown that we can put good performances on the road, and now we just need to show that we can get 3 points on the road.
And obviously this week you got TFC II coming to town. That was your first game of the season, was an appearance off the bench to play against them. They played you to a draw in Toronto. What's it going to take this week to get a result against them at home?
Obviously, we need to be good defensively. We know we will generate chances and we'll get good looks in front of goals. So I think it's just being solid defensively, being talking a lot, being very organized. And I think as long as we're organized in the back and in the midfield, we'll generate chances and we'll get goals.
All right, excellent. Kevin, this has been fantastic. I've got the experimental lightning round questions for you. I tried them out on Andrew Tenari. He was our first guest to have already completed the lightning round in return. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What would the title of your autobiography be?
Maybe just like hard work.
Okay. If you could steal credit for any great piece of art, be it a song, a film, a book, a painting, anything, which one of those would you claim?
I don't know. Maybe Starry Night.
Okay, that's a good one. You're on death row. What is your last meal?
Chipotle.
For your last meal? Chipotle?
Yeah, I love it.
All right. Have you ever successfully finished a game of Monopoly?
No.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has. I like polling people about that, though. Okay, and last but not least, who is the least funny Red Bull 2 player that thinks they're funny?
Least? Probably Evan Laura.
Excellent. Kevin, again, thank you so much for coming on. I wish you nothing but the best this weekend.
All right, awesome.
Or this week, rather. When we come back, we're going to be previewing that match against Toronto FC 2, so stick around. And we're back. We're going to preview the match against TFC 2 now. TFC 2 look, I'm gonna be straight about this one. I know that we've talked about teams that have been poor in the past that have actually beaten the Red Bulls too. I would be very surprised if that was the case here. They are 3-20-3 overall with a negative 28 goal differential. They are 1-4-0 in their last 5 matches. The one win came over Louisville City because nothing makes sense. Their losses came against Ottawa, Atlanta, Indy, and Bethlehem Steel. Away from home, they are 1-12-0. Their leading scorers are Jordan Hamilton and Tsubasa Endo. Both players, I believe, are TFC players, loanees, not TFC II contract players. Liam Fraser and Sean Hundell each have 3 assists. That's it. That's it for that team. They've spread the scoring around, but it's been few and far between. They are 1-0-1. Or sorry, they are 0-1-1 against the Red Bulls this season. The Red Bulls are 1-0-1 against them. They drew 0-0 last time out. They're ranked 25th in goals scored with 31 goals scored. Sorry, total. They are 3rd in goals conceded with 59. This is a bad team, guys. I'm not really sure what else to say other than it's at home. They're playing a garbage team. There's so few games left at home for the Red Bulls. This is a 3-pointer. No ifs, ands, or buts. They must get 3 points here. If they don't, I'm willing to say that they will not make the playoffs.
I think you just jinxed them, Joe, but I hope that they can get some points on their at home because on the road is just not, not looking good.
It's bad. Some of it's snake bit. I'm sure some of it's psychological at this point, but they need to get points on the road, and if they're not going to do it, they've got to maximize at home and against the worst team in the league. I'm not making an exaggeration. I know Tulsa is really bad too. But this is the worst team in the league. If they can't beat them at home, this team doesn't deserve to go to the playoffs.
Can't argue that.
Yeah, that's valid. I mean, they've never lost to Toronto. They've played them a total of 8 times. They've beat them 6 times, and there's been 2 draws. So we can't let that go down.
Now who's trying to jinx them? They've never lost to Toronto?
Yeah, never lost.
All I'm saying is they need to beat this team, not that they're going to. All right.
Blame it on me.
Let's pretend they get back to their goal scoring ways. Is Anatole Abong one of those guys? He lit up Toronto FC 2 a couple of years ago. Is he going to get back out there and show what he's made of?
Well, considering you won't be typing out a penalty before he
Of course, you would throw that in my face.
Come on.
Toronto FC is the team that originated that. Because remember, I wrote that, I think it was Ben Spees. I wrote that he scored from the penalty spot. I even submitted that tweet.
Wait. No. Wasn't it? I thought it was Luke Spencer.
Oh, maybe it was Luke Spencer. I thought it was Ben Spees. Who the hell is Ben Spees? Yeah, whatever. No, Spencer plays for Louisville.
Spencer? No, I'm trying. Yeah, maybe it was.
It was Ben Spees. So yeah, they originated that. It would come full circle if somehow I jinxed them again.
and then you did it for the Union, and then you did it for.
If there's a penalty that's been missed, chances are I've written a tweet about how it was about to be scored. So.
And you may have even sent the tweet on several occasions.
Only once. That happened once. I can't be blamed for that. And man, did I feel like a big idiot when that happened.
Part of me wants to. I really do want to see Amando Moreno back in the lineup.
Me too, big time.
Because I really think. I mean, if you saw the training clip today, you'd want to see him back in the lineup too. So, I mean, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say he's one of the scorers on the score sheet.
Okay, that'd be good. I'd like to see a front line of Moreno, Stroud. And if they're going to continue to play Abong, obviously he would be up there as well. Otherwise, it would be nice to see Barlow back starting up top because I thought he did a good job when he's been out there. Okay, let's get predictions. I'm going to start with you, Joe Steen. Ha ha ha! You can't just copy Bill.
I'm gonna go 4-1 Red Bulls 2.
Okay, wow, that's a big scoreline. It would be good, and they need that, and I think that's conceivable. Bill.
3-0 Rebels
3-0. I don't know if I feel as good about the offense right now, so I'm going to say it's a 2-0 win. I still don't think... Look, if they're giving up goals to Toronto, that's a big problem. I think that they can win this. So I'll say 2-0.
They did give up a goal to Atlanta late, so I mean, Atlanta.
Yeah, all right, fair. Okay, I'm still going to stick with 2-0. I feel good about that. Okay, let's look at the playoff standings right now. If they ever load for me, let's see. Okay, got it. Playoff standings right now. I'm going to read 1 through 8, and then we'll talk about the guys around the line. FC Cincinnati has clinched. If they are not the number 1 seed heading into the playoffs, I'll eat my shoes. Pittsburgh Riverhounds sitting second behind them at 49 points, 27 games played. Then Charleston Battery, 28 games played, 48 points. Then Louisville City, who is continuing to drop, 47 points on 27 games played. Then, hey, look, it's Indy 11, 45 points on 28 games played. Bethlehem Steel, 42 points on 30 games. Or I should say matches. I keep saying games. New York Red Bulls 2, 40 points on 28 matches. And Nashville, rounding out the playoff teams right now, 39 points on 27 matches. The team right now, the 2 teams that are, I think, pivotal to the Red Bulls' chances are going to be Indy and Bethlehem. Bethlehem, obviously, the big advantage there is that they've played 2 more matches already. But so much of what Red Bulls have to do has to be done on the road. So we'll see. These final 2 home games, if they can get 6 points out of them, that's going to be just absolutely huge.
Absolutely.
So then the teams underneath right now, we're talking about North Carolina and Charlotte, both who got some results this week. Ottawa, who also won this week. So they're all sitting within 4 points. From 11 to 9, it's 35 points, and 38 points. And that's in reverse order, so 9, 10, 11. Ottawa, North Carolina, and Charlotte. Any of those teams you think look good? Or do you think we're looking at 1 through 8 right now? Maybe that reshuffles a little bit, but that's the basic group. Thoughts?
I think that's the basic group. I mean, Ottawa, maybe. I mean, because they've had a few good games here and there, but North Carolina, even though they have only played 27 matches, I really don't think there's any threat there in North Carolina FC.
Charlotte could be coming on late. They've won their last 2 matches, once against Nashville and once against Richmond. Their next couple of games or matches are against Charlotte, that's who I'm talking about, Charleston, New York, and Pittsburgh. So they might be able to pick up, 4 points within that group. I think it might be tough to get those all, but they have 2 of those matches are at home. And then
Toronto FC has 12 points.
12 points. We were trying to figure out at the beginning of the season who's going to finish with the least amount of points, Toronto or Tulsa. Tulsa right now, 17 points, Toronto 12. So it's a nail biter, I got to say. And we'll get into this in the next part, but no matter what happens, so Toronto FC is eliminated, they're going to be relegated to Division 3, which we could talk about in a second. Also, Richmond, who announced today they're going to be a Division 3 team. Both teams sitting in 15th and 16th place in the Eastern Conference. They will be the first teams to be relegated.
I'm just going to say this.
Yeah.
If I were Cincinnati, the 2 teams I would not want to see in the first round are Bethlehem and RB2.
I fully agree with that. Look, Cincinnati is good.
But they're not unstoppable.
They're not unstoppable. The teams that they've played over the last 3 weeks, they squeaked out a win against Tampa Bay in spectacularly controversial fashion.
Yep.
They squeaked out a win against Pittsburgh.
Right.
And the same against Louisville. Those are 3... Well, Tampa Bay is not one of the good teams. So maybe that's the aberration there. But Pittsburgh and Louisville are 2 teams that they're likely going to have to beat in the playoffs. And yes, they got results against them, but they weren't convincing results. And any shade I can throw on Cincinnati fans right now, I'm going to do, because they are so obnoxious. Atlanta, congratulations. You will not be the most obnoxious fans in MLS next season. All I've heard Cincinnati fans do is complain about the refs, and they're winning. They have, let's see, their last 5 matches, right? Let's see. Charleston, 6.
And they'll
They're
have
definitely going all in. Too.
And they'll have something in common because if Cincinnati doesn't win the USL Cup this year, they both have won nothing. So there you go.
They are on a 6. It looks like a 16-match unbeaten streak, and they're complaining about the refs.
Maybe Reno should do that. Take a page out of their book.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it'll get
or
them
Las
back.
Vegas. Where's Las Vegas?
Las Vegas
exactly.
is sitting. They're in 14th place. We'll go to the Western Conference in a second. They're in 14th place right now. But listen, I don't think there's a lot of Cincinnati fans listening. But one, just enjoy what is going on for your club right now and stop complaining about everything. I've heard complaints about where they enter the visitor stadium at. I've heard complaints about how other teams are mean to them on social media. This is a real thing that happened. I got involved in a fight on social media between FCC fans and Louisville fans. Yeah.
Do they realize what the MLS is like?
No, they don't. So I think that
Right.
they need to chill out a little bit because things are going really well for your team. So maybe just shut up for a little
All right.
while.
So I'm gonna say that the bottom shuffles a little bit in the East. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna be crazy saying this. That Red Bulls 2 finished 6th, and I'm gonna say Bethlehem finishes 8th by the time it's all said and done.
Okay. That would be kind of fun.
I think Nashville's gonna creep in at 7.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I think right now.
I wish to God there was some way that Nashville and the Red Bulls could have a playoff match. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be so nice. They are one of the remaining matches, though, for Red Bull 2, right? Am I crazy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, they are.
Okay, so this is the Red Bull schedule coming up. We talked about Toronto. They've got Charlotte, Nashville, North Carolina FC. We were originally going to make a pilgrimage down to North Carolina. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen now. We'll have to save it for next year. Then they've got Penn FC, and they finish with Bob Lilly in Pittsburgh. Cool. Oof. So when I was talking about those 6 points, that's one of those matches at home is Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's gonna be a barn burner.
Yeah, only 2 home matches left. That's hard to believe.
It's unreal. Okay, let's talk about the West real quick. 1 through 8. We have new leaders. Orange County SC. The Monarchs dropped down to 2nd. Oh, sorry. Orange County, 54 points, 29 matches. Monarchs dropped down to 2nd after losing 3 straight matches. Something's up there. They're on 53 and 28. Phoenix Rising, also 53 and 28, with superior goal differential, but they're losing the tiebreaker on wins. They have 16, whereas Monarchs have 17. Then Sac Republic, 49 points on 28 matches. Portland Timbers 2, 48 points, 29 matches. Swope Park, 46 points, 29 matches. San Antonio, 43 points, 28 matches. And Reno, 1868, 42 points, 27 matches. St. Louis, breathing down their necks, same amount of wins, but they're losing in the goal differential. They also have 42 points in 28 matches. Bottom 2, Seattle Sounders 2. They are 5-17-5, negative 27 goal differential, and 20 total points. And Tulsa Roughnecks. This is such a sad record. They are 2-14-11 with a negative 32 goal differential. So Toronto FC 2 still behind them on points, but they have one more win than Tulsa. Yikes. Bad seasons for those guys. Okay. Let's talk about D3. Richmond Kickers announced today they are going to be moving to Division 3 starting next season. Here are the teams that we have so far in Division 3. Chattanooga Pro Soccer. They have not announced a name from what I can tell. FC Tucson. The Greenville Triumph SC. That's a team that's going to be coached by John Harkes. Madison Pro Soccer. Orlando City B. They're coming back. Now here a pair of comeback kids. Rochester Rhinos. Yeah. No? Nobody's excited about the Rhinos.
Yay. Well, they finally get the stadium situation sorted out, or
I hope so. The way that everything ended for them was so crazy. the Richmond Kickers, which we mentioned, South Georgia Tormenta FC, best name so far. All other D3 teams must bow down to the South Georgia Tormenta. And then Toronto FC 2. That is D3 so far. I'm sure that there's going to be other teams joining them and announcing over the next couple of weeks. But what do you guys think? What current USL team do you think, not an MLS team, should be moving down to D3?
Tulsa.
Yep.
For sure.
Joe?
Maybe Penn FC.
Okay. I think that would actually
Tampa
be
Bay?
That would be another
That'd be
good
a
team.
real slap
Tampa
in the
Bay,
face.
yeah, that would be a huge slap in the face if they moved down to D3 because they still want to be an MLS team. As much of a long shot it is right now, that's their ultimate goal.
Maybe one of the two teams. I don't know. Maybe Seattle too goes down.
Well, yeah, I will duh the MLS teams, but
yeah.
Okay, that's it for us tonight. If you want to follow us on Twitter, I am at _Joe Goldstein.
I'm at JSteen15.
I'm at Bill TNJ.
And if you'd like to follow the show, and we hope you do, we are at Raising Bull Cast. That's one bull, Raising Bull Cast. And of course, that's all on Twitter. You can also follow all three of us at the Red Bulls News Network. We're doing lots of good stuff over there. So give that place a look. We are at rbnn.us and on Twitter as RB News Network. Find us. Follow us. Get your news there. You can also see us at facebook.com/raisingbulls and on raisingbulls.com, where you can even send us questions. The questions should go to questions@raisingbulls.com. That's questions@raisingbulls.com. Where can they send us questions, Bill?
Questions at raisingbulls.com.
That's right. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We're also, I have it set up now that we auto upload to YouTube on our YouTube channel. So even though we're not doing little clips like we were at the beginning, our full podcast is on YouTube for your streaming pleasure if you'd like it. #MercedIn. You can find us at bgn.fm with shows like the USL Show, Mongols, Down the Valley, Texas Soccer Radio, Foxtrot, Bethlehem Blast Furnace, Sock Takes, and Rising as One. If you like USL and MLS and US Soccer, head over there for lots of great podcasts that cover all those topics. And of course, last but not least, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Roughneck Scarves, the official scarf supplier of MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get your scarves. Sorry, distracted. Get your scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. For myself, Bill Toomey, Joe Steen, and Kevin Politz, thank you very much and have a great night. Okay. All